Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of College Hockey Talk. On today's podcast, I'm joined by freshman from the UNH hockey team, Avery Myers. Welcome to the podcast, Avery, and how's everything going?
Hi, thanks for having me. Things are going all right. I mean, it's tough to lose and have your league be playing and you're not in it, but we got to play this year, so that's what matters.
Yeah, definitely. And now that your first year in college hockey is over, what are some things you have taken away from your experience so far at UNH?
Yeah, I mean, I loved it here. I loved going to the rink every day. It was fun. We're in a great league. Hockey East it's got some of the best players at this age, and you just always have to be ready. Every team in this league, you're not going to play a bad team. So.
Now, are you working on anything right now regarding to your game? Or are you trying to take a little bit of a break and focus on classes right now?
Yeah, definitely. It's a break is nice. Probably in the summer I'll start training really hard, but for now just probably lifting weights and getting on the ice when I can.
Yeah, and I want to start off this podcast talking about the Hockey East playoffs that you were just in. What was it like being Holy Cross on the first game of the playoffs and beating them on home ice? And talk about the positive momentum that game brought to your team heading into Northeastern on Sunday.
Yeah, that game was crazy. We were in quarantine for 10 days before that. We got out the morning of our game, and so we all had adrenaline going. We hadn't practiced in 10 days, and we played as a team, and we got the win, which is what matters. It was awesome. We were very happy that we could pull that one off.
Yeah, not playing in 10 days or practicing in that matter. How did you try to prepare for Holy Cross, not having that much time to prepare on the ice?
Yeah, our trainer gave us some workouts to do in our little quarantine room. Did that, and I mean, we mentally prepared. We visualized winning, and so.
Yeah, definitely. And that first period really stood out to me because you guys really brought the goal scoring like right away. Like you guys scored 2 goals and Holy Cross really had trouble catching up. How important were those 2 goals for that game?
Oh yeah, I mean, those are a game changer. We got the first one, and then we just put two more in after, and we had it.
Now, you unfortunately lost to Northeastern in the playoffs. So talk about that game and what do you think you could have done better in that game?
Yeah, that's a good team, and I just think they held us off. We were trying to get more shots on net. We needed to have more opportunities, and we got a few opportunities in the first, and we just have to capitalize on those against that good team. They're gonna get some chances, and they're gonna capitalize every time when they get those good chances.
Yeah, and how do you try to defensively prepare for a team like Northeastern? Because they have several players that can score multiple goals and win the game on their own.
Yeah, you definitely have to be prepared. You have to be aware and of who's on the ice. I mean, they have some pretty good players that. I mean, their whole team is good, but those top players, if they get the puck, you have to be aware and you have to be on them right away.
Now, have you been watching any of the other playoff games that have happened in the semifinals?
Yeah, I watched a little bit of each game last night.
Yeah, what were your thoughts on the games because they're pretty tight for throughout most of the periods, especially in that Providence Maine game.
Oh yeah, it was crazy. That overtime goal, that was a nice play, a nice pass, and the Yukon and Northeastern game, that was very close. Like they got it on the penalty kill, but it was a close game.
Definitely. And how is playoff hockey different than regular season hockey, especially since this year it was single elimination?
Yeah, I mean, records don't matter in playoffs. It's whoever comes to play is gonna win, and um, that's all there is to it. Whoever shows up is gonna win the game.
Do you like single elimination more than just a series, like a 5 or 6 game series or 7 game series?
Yeah, I think it was good for us this year having single elimination.
I think there's kind of like a positive and negative to it because I think series bring out the best in both teams, and it's kind of the drama that happens throughout the weekend, which is really cool. But also single elimination, it increases the chances for upsets to happen, which
Yeah,
also makes it fun as well.
yeah, for sure.
Now, your team had a lot of success throughout the regular season. You beat the number 8 team in the country in Boston University, and then you also beat Northeastern in a shootout. How important are those type of wins for your team, especially in the regular season?
Yeah, they're very important. I mean, it gets us feeling confident. It gets us excited for the rest of the season for playoffs. We know we can beat these teams. I think Northeastern's number one in the country right now. We beat them, and So it got us going, and it got us thinking like, okay, we beat them once, we can do it again.
Now, you guys have a lot of freshmen on your team. How are you going to use your first year experience to help you guys for your next 3 years at UNH? And do you think you're just going to keep improving, moving on throughout your college hockey career?
Yeah, definitely. We have a lot of freshmen, obviously, like you said, and they're all very skilled, very talented. And I think that we'll definitely just continue getting better. I mean, this year was different, but now we know what to expect. We know how to train. We know what it takes. We know what playing at this level is like, and so we know what to do to get better.
Yeah, and obviously next year should be hopefully a normal season compared to this one without like all the weekly schedules that Hockey East is doing. Is that going to be a relief for you not doing with all the changes that have happened for this year?
Oh yeah, especially for me, I like to know. I like to know my plans ahead of time, and so it was tough, and definitely getting some games canceled and then having off weekends. Obviously, we were all upset about that. We all love playing, so it'll be nice to have a regular scheduled year next year.
Yeah, and since it was your first year in college hockey, how did the upperclassmen help you guys transition into college hockey in this unusual year, and who in particular helped you out the most?
Yeah, they were all great. I got even text before I got here, just asking how I was doing, letting me know things, and they were all really helpful. They got the team going, and they kept us positive throughout this year. Sometimes it was hard, but they kept us up.
Yeah, definitely. And I want to talk about some of the changes that happened this year compared to other seasons in college hockey. The first one was no fans in the stands. Was that an adjustment for yourself, not playing in front of any fans, especially at Whittemore Center when the ice and the crowd size is really big?
Yeah, definitely. I would have rather had fans. I mean, you score a goal and you wanna go jump into all the fans, but it's I kind of was just focusing on we got to play, and I was very thankful for that. Next year we'll do some celebrations with the fans, but for now,
Yeah, definitely. With the whole whiteout and the student section, what celly you're going to do the first time when you see that student section?
I don't know. It's gonna have to be a big one. I'm gonna have to plan that one out for next year.
Can I give you a suggestion? You know Alex Ovechkin where he just runs and slams into the glass? You should do something like that.
I'll do that next year. My first goal at the home rink.
Awesome, and we'll clip this, and when you do, we'll definitely post it on our social media platforms, and I can say I
Perfect.
called it. So now, you also had a lot of schedule changes throughout the season, as you just alluded to. How did you mentally stay prepared for all those changes and postponements to your schedule, and was it hard maintaining flexibility for this year?
Yeah, I think we knew our coaches kept telling us. I mean, we have to be ready for anything and everything. We have to be able to adapt to all these tough situations. So I guess we just always kind of stayed ready. We had some open weekends that we ended up getting games in last minute, and we knew that was a possibility. And so we tried to stay prepared.
Yeah, and how did you try to prepare for opponents with such short notice? Because I know during a regular season, you try to pre-scout and find some of the opponents' tendencies to go against, especially as a forward, and trying to figure out how to score goals on the opposing goalie. How did you try to prepare for this season, not knowing who you're going to play in such short notice?
Yeah, we got some video in on the weekdays when we knew who we were gonna play that weekend. But otherwise, if we had a last minute game, we just had to go out there and play our game, and we didn't really get much scouting time before those weekends. So
And another thing that was introduced to college hockey this year, which I'm a fan of, is 3-on-3 overtime. What has that been like for yourself, being an offensive player and having more space on the ice and having more chances to score goals in that overtime setting?
yeah, definitely, like you said, there's a lot of space, there's a lot of time. So I think if you got possession, you're in a good spot, and it's just yeah, it's a good opportunity to score some goals.
And does those situations make you more defensively sound? Because if you make one little defensive mistake, it can cause an odd man rush and can cause goals for the opposing team.
Yeah, I think that possession is key, and you don't want the other team to get the puck because that could mean game over.
Yeah, definitely. And another reason why I like 3-on-3 overtime so much is because it eliminates ties. And I'm not a fan of ties. I'm assuming you're not a fan of ties either. How is that early for yourself, knowing at least you're going to get a result at the end of the day, even though it might be a loss?
Yeah, I definitely would like to play out the game. I don't like ties either.
Now, thinking of looking back at this year, what do you think is the biggest improvement you've made to your game since your last year with the Ice Cougars?
Yeah, I think this year I've found my little nick to put the puck in the net a little more. I mean, I know the things I've got to work on, but yeah, I would say my goal scoring ability has definitely gotten better this year.
Yeah, did you work on anything during the off season to prepare for that goal scoring knack? And what did you do during the off season to prepare for the season, especially with since there was so much uncertainty around it?
Yeah, I had a lot of opportunities where I live in Fargo. We've got great coaches and camps being run all the time. So I shoot pucks and stick handle at a camp almost every day, and that's really helpful. And then I skated a lot this summer too.
Yeah, and were gyms closed and was ice time hard to find where you were from? Because I know some places had that issue.
Yeah, no, it was pretty there wasn't many rules where I lived. I went to the gym a lot and it was always open, and I did get a lot of ice this summer too, so.
Do you feel like that gave you sort of an advantage this year in college hockey compared to other players that didn't have that advantage of going to the ice as much as you did?
Yeah, I mean, I think at first people were probably a little more tired when we were skating at the preseason skates here, but other than that, I think they got right back into it after a few weeks of practice and stuff.
Now, when did you arrive to UNH, and what was the process for preparing this year with the team?
I got here in late August, and for a while we just had lifts. The ice wasn't in the rink yet, so um, we just lifted 6 a.m. lifts, and then we did get some ice in a different town, and we had to split up in groups and each skate in separate groups, and then we did that for about 2 weeks, and then we got back on our ice.
Yeah, and what was the biggest adjustment you had to make to college hockey, especially going against some of the best players in the country in Hockey East, like you just mentioned earlier on in the podcast?
Yeah, the speed is a huge jump. Hockey East has very talented and um, fast players here, so definitely the speed.
Yeah, and how did you adjust to the mental side of the game, making quicker decisions with the puck?
Yeah, like I said, like the speed, so they're on you a lot faster. You have to make decisions faster. So that's harder. That is an adjustment, but I think I did all right with that.
And you're also going against players that are 4 or 5 years older than you are. Was that adjustment going against players that have more experience?
Yeah, it's definitely an adjustment. I mean, I play in the summer. I play with girls that are 4 or 5 years older than me, but for playing a whole season with people that have that much more experience than me, yeah, that's an adjustment, and that'll be a benefit to me next year that I have a year under my belt.
Yeah, definitely. Now, I want to transition and talk about the beginning of your hockey career before you went to UNH. You're from Fargo, North Dakota. How'd you start playing hockey and falling in love with the sport?
Yeah, my dad, he played hockey all of his life. He still plays. I skate with him at men's league, and so he got my sister into it first, and then I started skating with them, and my brother also plays. So it's just kind of a family thing.
Yeah, and having siblings that play hockey, how do you guys go at each other all the time during practice and games?
Oh yeah, it's a competition. My sister and I, we played on a lot of teams together, and it was always a competition. It was really fun.
Now, I never been to Fargo, North Dakota. I really don't know much about North Dakota, to be honest with you. What's the hockey scene like there?
It's growing. Definitely in Fargo. We have the Fargo Force, a USHL team. So I mean, there's kids looking at that team and they're like, I want to play there, and it gets them motivated to work hard and try to get to these higher levels.
I know North Dakota hockey, the college hockey team, is really huge up in North Dakota. Did you ever get to go to any of those games, and did that inspire you as well?
Yeah, that's always a dream of North Dakota kids to go to UND, but unfortunately they don't have their women's hockey program anymore. But yeah, I've played my state tournaments in that rink and played a lot of summer tournaments in that rink, toured the locker rooms. It's a crazy atmosphere there.
Definitely. And do you think it's the best atmosphere in college hockey, at least on the men's side?
Oh yeah. If not the best, it's pretty close.
Yeah, definitely. And who was your favorite player growing up?
Are you talking professional level or just anyone?
Anyone in general, honestly.
I would have to say my sister. Me and her, we work out in the summer together, and she motivates me and gets me going. So,
Now, before UNH, you played for your high school team in Fargo South. Talk about your high school hockey experience and what did you take away from it?
it was a lot of fun. I loved those years of my hockey career. My sister and I, those are some of the years we got to play together, and it was a lot of fun. Our team was pretty good. We made it to the state championship too many times and lost too many times, but it was fun.
Yeah, what's it like going to those state championships and just the atmosphere that you experience? Because I know in Minnesota it's really big and they kind of sell out the XL Energy Center. Is it the same thing for North Dakota?
It's definitely not as big as the Minnesota State tournament, but we got a lot of fans and it was crazy. It was nerve-wracking and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and being in that setting at such a young age, did you ever take the moment to just embrace the atmosphere? Because I know you're always focused on the game and trying to win, but do you ever try to take that 2 to 3 seconds just to embrace the atmosphere and appreciate where you are?
Yeah, I mean, in high school, I think it was just like, we got to win this game, but I got here and I'm like, this is crazy. This rink is crazy. This is amazing.
Now, looking back at your time with Fargo, your high school hockey team, what was your favorite memory?
Hmm. I think we had a stick it to cancer game and I got a hat trick. And that was when my sister and I played together. She got some assists on my goals and it was a good experience.
Yeah, and playing with a sibling, is there any kind of connection that you guys have that you really can't explain? Because I've noticed that with siblings that play on the same team, that they have a good connection, yet you can't really explain why.
Yeah, my sophomore year, I definitely had one of the best years that I've ever had, and she had an even better year than me. But I think we just work really well together, and it was a connection, and it was good.
Now, you also played for the Minnesota Ice Cougars as well. How'd you get the opportunity to play there?
Yeah, so I train with Frank Burgraff he's from Fargo as well, and he worked really hard to try to be able to get us something that we would get more exposure, play better competition, and just have a lot more games. And so he connected with a coach from the cities, and he got a few of us Fargo girls that trained with him to be able to play on that team, and that's how it happened.
Yeah, and how did those experiences at Fargo and with the Ice Cougars help prepare you for college hockey?
Yeah, I think in high school, I mean, I loved it. It was so much fun. I've always loved hockey, but when I played for the Ice Cougars, we got a lot more games, and um, it was against better competition. So it really prepared me to play here better than in North Dakota. So
Yeah, and you also participated in some USA national camps where you absolutely killed it, by the way. What were those experiences like at those camps? And talk about the success that you had.
those were fun weeks. I mean, my first year at national camp, I just had so much fun. I knew some players on my team, and we ended up all getting really close. And I mean, when you're having fun, you do better on the ice. So it was a good year for me there.
Yeah, definitely. And you're also playing some of the best competition in the country. How does that elevate your game and help your hockey development?
I think for me as a player, I play better against better competition. I mean, so yeah, those players there, they're some of the best um at that age. So
Yeah, and talk about your recruiting process. What was that like for yourself, and what made you want to come to the East Coast and play for UNH?
um I was kind of looking, like I knew I wanted to play college hockey all throughout high school, so I was looking around. I was touring and visiting different schools, and I played in the Beantown tournament in Boston, and so I decided to visit some schools out east and check them out. Um, I looked at UNH and I loved it. I loved everything about it. I mean, I visited 3 schools in a few days, and I bought a sweatshirt from UNH. So I just felt this was the place.
Yeah, and hasn't it been an adjustment for yourself being far away from home for the first time?
Yeah, it's definitely different. It feels like this year is just like a movie. I mean, I didn't get to go home for Christmas, and that was hard, but otherwise, I mean, we've been playing hockey, so it's kept me busy, and I'm just really thankful that we've been able to have a season.
Yeah, and especially since your family hasn't been able to go to the games, has that been tough as well? And how do you try to stay connected with your family back home?
Yeah, we definitely FaceTime and text a lot, but they've been wanting to come out for some games, so hopefully next year they're able to.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Now, how have you tried to balance academics and hockey at such an elite level? And how's school going for you, especially since it's online?
Yeah, school's going well. It was hard to adjust with all the online stuff at first. It was hard to figure out how to locate everything and what was due and everything. But we have a study hall here we go to for 5 hours a week or whatever, and it really helps us get our stuff done. And so we have a lot of resources.
Yeah, and the one thing about Zoom classes that is nice at least is can just get out of bed and go straight to class. You don't have to like walk across campus and just go to class. That's like one positive I try to take away from it.
Yeah, that's definitely a nice part of it.
Now, the one thing I don't like about online classes is the Zoom breakout rooms. I don't know if you've had to deal with that experience, but they're absolutely brutal. No one talks, and I freaking hate it. Do you have the same experience with that?
Yeah, definitely. It's awkward. Nobody talks in them.
Now, also, have you had the chance to explore the UNH campus, and what is that like? Because I've never been there before, believe it or not.
Yeah, I mean it's a beautiful campus. I haven't been everywhere because I haven't had really any in-person classes. Um and so but yeah, like it's so close to the ocean. When it was warm out, I would go surfing. My roommate surfs, so she lives on Hampton Beach, so we went surfing. She taught me how to surf and I love it here. It's crazy.
Yeah, how's surfing, and how do you learn? Because it seems pretty difficult.
I have yet to learn. I wake surf at the lakes back home, but it's a lot different here in the ocean.
Yeah, what's the key for it though? Especially since your roommates kind of have the experience. Did you kind of embarrass yourself a little bit trying to learn how to balance on those waves?
Oh yeah, I didn't catch one yet this year, but I'll work on it.
That's awesome. Now, you were talking about earlier how you have to play some of the best competition in Hockey East. What's it like being a player in Hockey East, and talk about the competition you face every night, because even the lowest ranked team is going to give you a challenge.
Yeah, you're not going to play a bad one. You have to be ready for every game. Um, Otherwise, I mean, you're probably not going to get the best outcome if you're not ready, because these teams, they're going to take advantage of that, and they're all very good.
We're now in the non-hockey segment of the podcast where I ask you some non-hockey questions. This is a lot of people's favorite segment of the podcast. My first question to you is, what music do you like to listen to, whether it's before a game or just in general?
I like country.
Nice. Who's your go-to artist?
I like Kane Brown. I saw him in concert, so he's pretty good.
Nice. Is he just as good in concert as is listening to him like online?
Yeah, he had a good live concert.
That's good. I'm more of a Thomas Rhett guy. I think he makes good songs. He makes a good variety of songs. Some are pretty poppy, some are good country as well. So I think he does a good job in that.
Oh yeah, he's definitely one of my favorites too.
Do you listen to country before music or before games? And how or if you do, how does that pump you up? Like, what's your pump up song?
Um, we listen to music in the locker room as a team. It's kind of just like pump up music, but weirdly sad music sometimes gets me motivated. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Who controls the aux in the locker room?
Tamara Theoris usually has the aux.
Does she play good stuff?
Yeah, she's
All
got
right.
she's got good tunes.
That's good, because that stinks if they're not playing anything good in the locker room. It's kind of brutal to get through.
Yeah.
Who had the best warm up mix when you went on the road? Anyone good ones?
I didn't actually really pay attention to that. I'll have to look out for that next year and let you know.
All right, that's a good thing though. You need to focus on the game. I'm just a fan, so I like listening to the warm up music sometimes. It gets me fired up. So I gotta respect that though. Now, what is your biggest pet peeve?
Hmm. Biggest pet peeve, probably like a squeaking noise or like nails on the chalkboard noise, something like that.
Mine would definitely be when someone doesn't cover their mouth when they sneeze or cough. It's pretty disgusting, especially now since we're in the middle
But
of
yeah.
a pandemic. So my advice to anyone who's listening to this podcast is please cover your mouth when you sneeze or cough. It is not pleasant to see, and it really bothers me. Now, since you're from North Dakota and you're talking about surfing, what's your favorite outdoor activity to do?
Yeah, I would definitely say surfing. I'm at the lakes a lot, and I drive down to Minnesota, and I'm at the lakes a lot, and I love doing that.
Are lakes better than the beaches? Because I'm more of a beach person, being from the East Coast.
It's nice. It's nice to not like get your eyes filled with salt water. Sometimes that really burns. So the lake water, I think I like that better.
I can agree with you on that. Now, if you could have lunch with anyone in the world, who would it be and why?
That's a good question. Lunch with anyone in the world. I feel like I would choose someone just like maybe one of the Lamoureux sisters. They've made it pretty far in life and they've done some pretty cool things. So maybe see how they got there and stuff. But
Yeah, especially since they're from North Dakota, right?
yeah, I've actually surfed with them one time.
Oh,
So
nice. Both of them, or
yeah,
just one of the twins?
one of them.
Which one, Jocelyn or Monique?
Yeah, I think it was Jocelyn.
They look very similar. It's hard to tell sometimes. But what was your reaction though when they got that shootout goal in the 2018 Olympics? That was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was iconic. That was crazy.
Now they recently just retired. What was your reaction to that news, and were you surprised by it?
No, I wasn't surprised because they both had kids, so I was like, it makes sense. They had a good career.
Definitely, definitely. And what would you ask them during that lunch?
I guess just how they got where they are.
Yeah. Now, speaking of your teammates, who was the funniest on the team?
Definitely Tamara Theoris.
Now, who has the best style on the team besides yourself?
Hmm. I think that Rayanne Brayton, she has good style.
Nice. And what is your favorite app to be on?
Instagram or Snapchat, probably.
Nice. I'm more of an Instagram guy. I don't really use Snapchat that often. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just me. Now, if you could, if there was a documentary going to be made, what do you think there should be a documentary made of? Because there's a lot of cool things that I've been noticing that there's no documentary on. So, what do you think? What would you make a documentary on? I'm just curious about that.
I mean, I'm really into the crime documentaries, but I feel like I would like to see a sports person, like a professional player, how they got there and like how they grew up and everything. Just I feel like there needs to be more of those.
No, would be a cool one. I don't know if you remember this, but before every Winter Classic, they did this thing called 24/7 where they followed the two teams that were going to play in the Winter Classic. It was unfiltered. They went all behind the scenes. I think that would be cool if they did that for a college hockey team, especially a women's college hockey team, since most people, it can give you guys exposure. And I think that would be cool.
Yeah, that would be very cool.
Who do you think would be the best person in the documentary if they did it for UNH? Like, who would be the funniest person or character?
Definitely Tamara Theoris. She's a funny character.
Now, if you could be a part of any TV show, what TV show would that be?
A TV show. Maybe a crime one. I'm pretty into those.
Like Criminal Minds or something like that?
Yeah,
Nice, nice. What would you be? Would you be like a villain or like a detective?
a detective probably.
Definitely, definitely. Now, final non-hockey question to you is if they were going to make a movie on your life, who would you want to play yourself?
Hmm. Like one of my friends, someone that I know, or like a famous person.
Let's do both. Do one of your friends and then do a famous person. I think that'd be interesting.
To play myself, I would probably say my sister. She probably knows me the best, and she could act out some things I usually do. Famous person. I have no idea. I haven't thought about that ever.
All right, I'll ask you next time we have you on. But back to some hockey questions now. My first one to you is, well, what should be done to help grow women's hockey, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things that could be done. I mean, just this year it's been better. I mean, they've been streaming us on Nessun a lot, and um, there's been a lot of media coverage over the COVID times because there's not as much going on. So, but just continuing that and growing that.
Yeah, and how has the mindset changed on women's hockey since you started playing?
I think it's definitely gotten bigger. It's definitely more serious to more people, and people just take it more seriously. Yeah.
Now, do you have any shout outs before we let you go to any of your friends, family members, or teammates?
I have to shout out my family, of course. Dave Tooney, he's a coach that's helped me through a lot and got me to where I am today. Frank Bergraff, and all my teammates that I've ever had. But yeah, and my dad, he was my favorite coach. So
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on, Avery. I really appreciate it. It was a pleasure getting the chance to meet and talk to you today. And stay safe and good luck for their next season. I know we'll still be in touch. And I think you're a very underappreciated freshman, especially this year. And I think you deserve a little more recognition than you actually get. So I just want to let you know that.
thank you so much, and thank you for having me.
No problem. I just have one question before I